How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SNDL Sundial growers. You guys are seeing the volatility. I know many of you have been taking some profits, so that is great to hear. But of course, I got to give you guys the update video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is the technical analysis, taking a look at the overall price action. Why is this important? We want to be able to formulate the right strategy so we can make profit off of those spikes. And then secondly, we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. There have been many updates and I can't wait to share it with you guys. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. Have institutions been loading up on shares or have they been dumping shares? We can see this in the large scale orders and we're going to be finding out. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for SNDL Sundial growers. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 81 cents, being down 2% on the day. On the low, it tested 80 cents, and then on the high, testing 84 cents. Now, when we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see here we traded at 68.633 million shares. You see an update right there, 68.76 million shares. And as far as for the average volume over 10 trading days, it was at 90.915 million. So we did have below average volume. It's part of the reasons why we ended up seeing some pressure on the stock price. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which we're using the 1 year daily chart, from the RSI down below, we're right around 46.23. So yes, we are in the oversold territory. When we take a look at our indicators here, you can clearly see that we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So what we saw today, we definitely continue to have resistance just under this 85-cent level. So we want to look forward to actually seeing a move of it going above it. But it's only going to happen if we have more volume coming into the stock. This is essential for SNDL to make strong moves. So for the most part, we want to see it continue to hold up in the range that it has been trading in. As far as the areas we've seen it go between 77 cents and as well, like I just stated, between 84 cents. If it can break through this particular level at 84, then the next level, of course, you want to see how well it can get above 86, which is right at the 200-day. If it continues to get rejected, it's going to go back into that range. And of course, we don't want to see a rejection. We want to see momentum. If we get that momentum, then of course I want to see a test at the 100-day right here around 91 cents. And again, with buying volume, again, it could push it up to around $1. But for the most part, if it does decide to pull back since earnings is coming up right around the corner, I wouldn't mind that, because like I was saying before previously, I love to accumulate in the 70-cent range because we know SNDL is one of those stocks where it just spikes up, and this is where you take your profits. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for SNDL. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see two closed positions for today, August the 10th, but let's take a look at what was open. So we have one open position. We have Falcon Wealth Planning purchased 168,400 shares. So that is definitely a sizable position right there. Now, as we scroll back up, taking a look at the short interest information, we could see here scrolling on the page, short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 18 minutes ago. And as far as for the short ball free rate, it is at 1.41%. Taking a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we could see here on August the 6th, which was a close from last week, it was at 54.86, and now for the 9th, which was yesterday, has gone down to 36.54. So that is a dramatic difference right there, but do keep in mind SNDL still has short squeeze potential. We normally look for 21% or higher, and it's still well above that. So there are short shares that are out there, and it's a significant amount. So as far as going into earnings and so on, yes, there will be some volatility, but you guys already know what the strategy and the game plan is. So if it does decide to pull back, you know what to do. And if it does make a move to the upside, you already know to protect your profits. So let's see what happens. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SNDL. So we can see here on the inflow, it's at 17.43, and then on the outflow, it's at 17.50. So fairly close. So we had 0 on the large for both. On the medium, we had 11.41. And then on the small, we had 6.02. On the outflow side, it was at 12.13. And then on the small, it was 5.37. As far as for the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see we had 0 on the 10th. We also had 0 on the 9th. And the only inflow we had was on the 6th, being at 746.42. So as far as large scale orders are concerned, we see institutions are not getting involved whatsoever. Is this a bad thing? Not necessarily, because we do see some activity as far as for the small and as well as on the medium side. Of course, they do have earnings that's going to be coming up on the 12th. So with that volatility, we are going to be seeing these spikes. And if you have an opportunity to take some profits, don't be greedy at all. But do keep in mind, I'm willing to wait quite some time so I can get that spike that I'm really looking for. And that's why we do the technicals. So now let's jump into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for SNDL Sundial growers, we are going to be seeing a good amount of volatility. Yes, they do have earnings on August the 12th, but do keep in mind there's some key economic data that's going to be coming out for the next couple of days. So if it does decide to pull back, I'm not going to sound like a broken record here, but I'm going to be adding, especially if it's getting into that 70-cent range. That's where I love to accumulate. So I know many of you, if you see it pulling back, you're going to be concerned, but at the same time, this is where we take advantage of opportunities. But you need to make sure you have a strategy that works well for you. Just don't blindly follow anyone out there. I want to make sure I really emphasize this. You want to make sure you're doing your homework, and as well you're doing your due diligence. On SNDL's last earnings report, we saw an improved EBITDA. So we want to see this actually continue going into their next earnings report. It's going to be very key. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this particular play. And as far as those spikes are concerned, many have been taking advantage of it, especially when it's popped to 84 cents. Many buying in at around 78 cents when it was pulling back in that particular range, and then selling at 84, which is just over like about 7%. So if you're trading off of the fluctuations, hey, there's definitely some profit to be seen. If you're going to continue to hold your position, then just know the risks that come with that. And if you are going to be waiting on a spike, it doesn't mean that it's going to be happening right away. It is going to require some patience. And of course, many of you are also holding shares because you want to see, as far as for the United States, being able to actually legalize cannabis on the federal level across the board. And of course, because rising tides float all boats, this will be reflected on SNDL, and this should see some momentum as well. And I know many of you are looking for that $1 pop or above when that does happen. So with all of that said, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing how SNDL performs. I'm also looking forward to their earnings. And of course, I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated. But also do remember, when we went on Fintel, I want to make sure I'm being clear about this. There is short squeeze potential. And we did have an institution that was loading up as well. So have a game plan, have a strategy. I'm going to keep emphasizing this, and we'll be talking real soon.